ओम नमः शिवाय शिवजी सदा सहाय. Om Namah Shivaya Guruji Sada Sahai. The glory of Shivpuran through some tales. Dev Raja's tale. Long time ago there lived a Brahmin named Dev Raja in the town of Kiratanagara. A very lax, unprincipled and degenerate life he lived. No bathing and no praying was the order of his day. He was lecherous by nature. It appeared that the sole object of his life was to make money and spend it on wise games to satisfy his carnal desires. He would not mind cheating others and creating misunderstandings between friends and relatives. One day he went to the pond to wash himself for a change and happened to see there a woman of easy virtue called Shobhavati. Dev Raja could not resist the coquettish gestures of the evil woman. She took away all the money he had by and by. He completely ignored the pleadings of his parents and the wife. To be free to do whatever he liked, he went to live with the evil woman in her house. When he had blown away all his money, the woman kicked him out of her house. She had no use for him anymore. The Brahmin roamed around and reached a place called Pratishtanapura. He fell ill there. He thought he was going to die. In a nearby Shiva temple, he took shelter. On the floor, he lay unable to move. There was nothing he could do but listen to the recitation of the Shivpuran and religious sermons being delivered to faithfuls. The sermons and recitations concluded on the day he finally died. The agents of the Lord of Death, Yama, duly arrived there to take charge of the soul of Dev Raja to take it to hell of afterworld. But the servitor agents of Lord Shiva intervened to stop them. The agents of death revealed the long list of sins the dead Brahmin Dev Raja had committed during his lifetime. The agents of Shiva reasoned that what the dead man had done or now he lived no longer mattered, since the last few days of his life were spent in hearing and recitations of holy Shiva Puran, which had cleansed him of all his sins. They took the soul of Dev Raja to the Kailash domain of Lord Shiva. To his puzzled agents, Yama explained when they expressed their surprise over the incident that great was the glory of Shiva and great was his grace bestowed upon those who listened to the Kathas of Shivpuran. Seth Suta narrated another story, the story of Chanchula. Chanchula's tale. Once there lived a Brahmin called Binduga and his wife named Chanchula at a place called Bashakala. Binduga fell to the fatal attraction of a woman of evil eyes and infamy. He could not go home or try to meet his wife. Chanchula felt hurt and hard pressed to make a living. She resorted to the oldest profession, as evil men were never far away. Binduga learned about the scandalous act of his wife and returned home. He thrashed her, but the repentant wife accused her husband of disloyalty and dereliction, forcing her into prostitution to stay alive. A lengthy argument followed. At last, an agreement was reached, according to which each of them was to carry on one's evil eyes. Chanchulaka would turn over all the money she made to Binduga, who could spend it on his own horse. Chanchula always found customers who paid her money for sex, and Binduga needed money. For the benefit of the world, they continued to play husband-wife roles. In this way they lived, and one day Chanchula became a widow. She continued with her whoring way of life. One day she reached Gokarna, a holy place where recitation of Shiva Puran was on the Mahabaleshwar temple. Out of curiosity, Chanchula heard some snatches of it. She learned that the sinners were condemned to hell, where Yamraja tormented them with horrific punishments. It frightened her. After the recitation, Chanchula went to a Puranik, the scholist of Puran. She confessed her sins to him. The scholist advised her to hear the recitations of Shiva Puran with her mind beamed into Lord Sublime. Chanchula faithfully did so. As a result, she got salvaged in her death and her soul was taken to the domain of Kailasha. There, Chanchula lived in the blissful company of the maidservant of Mahasupreme Gauri. Chanchula redeems Binduga too. Chanchula one day relayed up a prayer to Ma Gauri, revealing her desire to know the whereabouts the soul of her husband Binduga. She learned that her husband would suffer the tortures of hell for his sins and currently was going through the woes of an unfulfilled spirit in the form of a wicked ogre haunting Vindhya mountains. Chanchula prayed for his salvation from the ghost life. The gracious Ma Supreme smiled and sent a Gandharva named Tumbura with her to the Vindhyas. Ma advised Tumbura to recite Shiva Puran to the tormented soul to cleanse it of his sins. Accompanying Tumbura and Chanchula were also two of the gods of Shiva. Tumbura was able to contact the evil spirit of Binduga on the Vindhya mountain, but it would not hear Shivpuran. Hence, the gods of Shiva ensnared it. Tumbura strummed his string instrument and crooned the glory of the great Lord Shiva. The sweet strains of melody wafted through the airs of the mountainside. Even angels and fairies descended to hear the sanctifying melody revealing the glory and the deeds of Lord Shiva. It was time for the redemption of evil spirit of Matsya in Binduga. The evil god washed away and spotless soul shined out. Binduga had been salvaged. Chanchula went back to Kailasha accompanied by her husband. There they lived happily together ever after. So efficacious was the grace of Shiva. Setsuta continued to reveal the joy begetting and sin cleansing power of Shivpuran, the consort of the goddess Ambika. Suta exhorted the sages and other holy men to hear his narration with great attention. Then he resumed his elaboration of Shivpuran. Sangaji, the glory tales end here. If I have lagged in any of the facet, please forgive me. Thank you, Guruji Maharaj. Thank you, Sangaji. We will surely listen the next chapter in the next video. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivji Sada Sahai. Om Namah Shivaya, Guruji Sada Sahai. Jai Guruji Maharaj.